The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new day.
Good morning. Just over 2 years since the last election, the political jockeying seems to be in full effect. Now, Prime Minister Davis telling Killarney residents that Minnis is failing them. And more on the drama in the FNM. Plus, the Village Road project substantially complete, we're told. And in our discussion today, we are talking about the Golden Yolk project and egg production in the Bahamas. Give you all the details. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking with the Abaco Chamber of Commerce president about developments there and what she desperately feels needs to happen right now. That's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Prime Minister Philip Davis telling supporters during a Killarney branch meeting that former Prime Minister Dr. Minnis, the MP for the area, is failing them and is so busy fighting within his own party that he has, quote, forgotten about you. Davis, speaking last night, saying, quote, even though he was elected by the members, they want to stop him attending their council meetings. What kind of political organization is this? Speaking of the FNM, he said, quote, what kind of political organization tells their own people that they can't attend meetings, that they can't speak at meetings, and then turn around and tell the Bahamian people they're all about transparency and accountability? According to party insiders, an FNM council meeting got heated on Thursday after Minnis objected to being blocked from speaking at an upcoming Constituency Association meeting. Minnis was set to speak at a meeting at the Garden Hills Constituency Association on March 7th, but the leadership reportedly communicated to the association that that must not happen. At the PLP meeting last night, the Prime Minister called on PLP members to step up. He said, quote, your representative is failing you. He failed the Bahamas and he's still failing you. He's so busy in his own council meeting for the right to speak to Garden Hills, he's forgotten about you. Meanwhile, FNM leader Michael Pintard, who's the chair of the Public Accounts Committee, says that even as the Attorney General has blocked permanent secretaries from appearing before the PAC, The Parliament's most powerful committee is pursuing multiple angles in its quest to hold government to account on its expenditure of public monies. Pintard said the PAC is writing to the heads of all public boards seeking information on contracts entered into by those entities since the PLP was elected in September 2021. Regional leaders left Haiti on Monday with a very clear idea of how to assist the Haitian National Police in its efforts to curb gang violence and bring stability to the crisis-torn island nation. That's according to National Security Minister Wayne Monroe. Monroe, along with Labor and Immigration Minister Keith Bell, was part of a CARICOM delegation led by Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness. They visited Haiti to, quote, search for a solution to the ongoing situation in the country. A Royal Bahamas Police Force officer is being questioned at the Criminal Investigation Department for what we're told is incestuous behaviour. A police statement saying investigations are ongoing at the time that further updates will be provided on completion of the investigation. A man accused of a fatal stabbing no longer faces a murder charge in connection with the incident. 32-year-old Saran Russell is now charged with manslaughter in the March 6, 2022 death of Camario Miller. The charge stems from an incident that took place on Fritz Lane. Russell, who is still on remand, learned of the reduced charge when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Joanne Ferguson Pratt yesterday to receive a voluntary bill of indictment. Russell will appear before Senior Justice Bernard Turner on March 24th for arraignment. And a man who tried to rape a young woman at gunpoint, sentenced to 15 years in prison. In passing sentence on Rashad Johnson, Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson said the penalty was intended to serve as a deterrent. A 9-member jury unanimously convicted Johnson of assault with intent to rape last July. At the time of his conviction, Johnson was serving an 8-month sentence for indecent assault. Grant Thompson said that Johnson's previous conviction for indecent assault, lack of remorse, and using a gun in the commission of the offense were aggravating factors. And the $6.4 million Village Road Improvement Project is substantially complete, according to resident engineer of the project, Albrion Simonet. He says they've completed the contract pavement, and now they have completed the pavement work. The underground works are all completed as well, and the pavement works are completed. He says what's left to do includes striping, signage work, as well as traffic signals. The project, which involved work on nearly a mile of road on Village Road between St. Andrews Drive and Montague Beach, includes new traffic signals at Parkgate Road, Shirley Street and Village Road, removal of existing pavement, installation of new pavement, electrical ducts, water mains, and services, and construction of junction improvements at Parkgate Road, St. Andrews Drive, and Queens College, Bahamas National Trust. Overseas, a head-on collision between a passenger train and a freight train flattened carriages and killed at least 36 people and injured some 85 in Greece today. Before dawn, rescuers searched through twisted, smoking wreckage for survivors. What appeared to be the third carriage lay atop the clumped remains of the first two. Multiple cars derailed and at least 3 burst into flames after the 2 trains ran to each other at high speed. Many of the approximately 350 people aboard the train were students returning from Greece's Raucous Carnival. This year was the first time the 3-day festival, which precedes Lent, was celebrated in full since the start of the pandemic in 2020. Today, the government declared 3 days of national mourning. After sunrise, rescuers returned to heavy machinery to start moving large pieces of the trains, revealing more bodies and dismembered remains. Officials say the army has been contacted to assist. And Nigerians waking up to a new president today, with ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu declared the winner of the country's election. As he thanked his supporters, he appealed for reconciliation with his rivals, who were already demanding a revote in Africa's most populous nation. The announcement by election officials overnight likely to lead to a court challenge by the second and third highest finishers in the weekend vote, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. Abubakar also finished second in the previous vote in 2019 and appealed those results, although his lawsuit ultimately was dismissed. Tinubu's ruling All Progressives Congress party urged the opposition Tuesday to accept defeat and not cause trouble after they had demanded a revote, saying that delays in uploading election results had made room for irregularities. Tinubu received 37% of the votes, or nearly 8.8 million, while main opposition candidate Abubakar won 29%, with almost 7 million. Third-place finisher Obi took 25% with about 6.1 million. Those results announced on live television by the Independent National Electoral Commission. In sports, Bahamas Junior Davis Cup team staying unbeaten as they took down Barbados 3-0 at the Central American Caribbean pre-qualifying tournament in Guatemala City. While the junior girls began action in the Junior Billie Jean King Cup tournament, the girls lost a tough tie 2-1 to St. Lucia. Coming off a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Jamaica on Monday, the unseeded Bahamian team swept the 7th-seeded Barbados team in Junior Davis Cup action yesterday, looking to make a deep run in Group D. Get all the details in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Bahamian our senior men's national cricket team, and their bowler, Kevon Hines, saw his historic 5-wicket haul spoiled as the Bahamas finished 94-8 against the Cayman Islands, losing by 31 runs at the St. Albans ground in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It was their second match in the International Cricket Council's 2024-2020 World Cup Sub-Regional Americas qualifier for 2023. The Bahamas now sits in third with the standings with a 1-1 win-loss record and 4 points. They won by 4 wickets over Panama on Sunday to get their campaign started. Bermuda and the host country, Argentina, are also competing. And the family of the late Kobe Bryant has agreed to a $28.5 million settlement with Los Angeles County to resolve the remaining claims in a lawsuit over deputies and firefighters sharing grisly photos of the NBA star, his 13-year-old daughter, and other victims killed in a 2020 helicopter crash. The figure includes a newly agreed-upon payment from the county of $13.5 million, along with the $15 million a federal jury awarded Bryant's widow, Vanessa Bryant, at a trial in August. The agreement resolves any future claims by Bryant's 3 surviving daughters, related issues pending in state court, and other costs. A proposed settlement order, which a judge must approve, was filed Tuesday in federal court. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. And in your first look at weather for today, we've got persistent high pressure anchored over the area that will continue to produce dry and unseasonably warm temperatures across the islands for the next few days. It's going to continue, folks. There are some special warnings, though. Beachgoers and swimmers should remain alert as there's a risk of rip currents along Atlantic-exposed shorelines. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny and very warm conditions, turning mostly cool tonight with some clear skies. Wind south to southwest at 10 knots, occasionally falling light and variable at times in the northwest Bahamas. East to southeast at 10 to 15 in the central and southeastern Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the northwestern islands, but 2 to 4 feet in the central and southeastern Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 63 Fahrenheit, 17 Celsius. Currently, we are at about 67 in Nassau. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
At Doctor's Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off labs, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctor's Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Get your Carifta tickets. The 58th Carifta Games is coming. April 7th to April 10th. Tickets are on sale now. Online at Carifta50.com or at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, Western Grand Entrance. For more details, email tickets at Carifta50.com or call 605-4051.
Alive is rewarding its prepaid and postpaid customers because you deserve it. Become an Alive prepaid customer and get cash back in your wallet. Or switch to Alive postpaid and earn monthly credit and data so you never have to pay your bill in full again. Download the My Alive app and get rewards today. Alive. Believe in best.
Welcome to the power of Visa, with access to thousands of travel and shopping and dining discounts with up to $1,500 in savings yearly with Mobile Assist's new prepaid Visa travel rewards cards. Book the cheapest flights, even cheaper than Orbitz and Expedia. Get cash back at participating hotels, car rentals with automatic insurance, and online shopping discounts at U.S. stores like Gap, Best Buy, and more. Get your 30-day free trial when you download our Mobile Assist app. Visit Mobile Assist/rewards now for your prepaid Visa travel rewards card.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your television, on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chester. Great to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Hope all's well.
It's a blessed day.
First day of March.
Yes, sir.
Already.
First quarter is almost done.
Almost done.
I speak that way, first quarter.
I appreciate it. And it feels like we're in the third quarter, how hot it is. Good Lord.
Was it hot yesterday?
What? February was like the hottest February.
Yeah, February. There were some days in February that were hot.
Yeah, and I know they say in South Florida they broke many records, so I'm sure that means we did as well. But this is, I don't know what to make of this, folks, and it looks like it's going to be around for a little while longer. I guess no more cold fronts, that's it. Oh, well.
Yes, so.
Oh, boy. Anyway. Coming up this morning, we have a lot to talk about. We are going to give you details. You might have heard about it yesterday or the last couple of days about the Golden Yolk Project, as the country has some big aims, big plans for egg production. to be self-sustainable, I guess, with eggs. Is that what we're looking at? Yeah.
Some grade A project.
And I expect Chester will be throwing the egg puns.
Way to go.
Was that one just now, the grade A project? Yeah. That was, oh boy. So it's going to be that kind of morning, folks.
Sure.
Brace yourselves.
Make yourself an omelet.
All right. Don't get cracked up, right?
Hey,
see?
Hey, all
Okay.
right.
Anyway, and later in the show, we're going to be talking with the president of the Abaco Chamber of Commerce about concerns there. And a lot to talk about with her in business coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. But let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, hey, it's almost beginning to feel like we've got an election coming up or something with all the political talk we've seen the last few weeks. It's very odd. And
I guess you can't never let it dead, eh?
No, we should. We should that at least, right? Not now. It's barely been 2 years yet, and come on. But it seems like people are jockeying and almost campaigning. And we've been hearing a lot about the internal squabbling with the FNM, although that always happens when they're in the opposition. And both parties, but especially them. Right? There's always a lot of shuffling, and you're the leader, then I'm going to be the leader.
In the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, decades. I mean,
it?
it really has been ever since 2002. It's been, it's always an uneasy opposition.
Yeah.
And then things change at the last minute, or somebody makes some move, and sometimes it works, sometimes it backfires, but there's always something crazy going on. But it doesn't seem to change anything because we keep shuffling the administrations in and out. Yeah. But this is getting a bit weird now. So we've been hearing about what's happening within the FNM, and everybody could see this coming. Hubert Minnis is up to something, and but now I guess the PLP is trying to. I don't know what that is they're trying to do, but
stoke.
Or are they trying to prevent any energy, any momentum with a Minnis comeback? I'm sure they're not doing it to help Michael Pintard, but they're just doing it maybe.
It might help him.
It might help him. It might help him, but now we hear that Prime Minister Davis was speaking at a Killarney branch meeting and told the members there that Minnis is failing them as an MP for the area. Our Travis Carroll writing about it in today's Nassau Guardian. Prime Minister Philip Davis told supporters during that meeting that the former Prime Minister, the MP for the area, is failing them and is so busy fighting within his own party that he has, quote, forgotten about you.
Is that kind of like preaching to the choir?
Because I'm pretty sure there are very few FNMs at this meeting.
Yeah.
So, unless he was driving in a van with loudspeakers through the neighborhoods, I don't understand what you're hoping to. But I guess he was hoping he would get into the papers.
Right. Oh, yes.
So that people would read it. And that we would talk about it.
Oh.
Yeah, because the puppeteering works.
This is the work that we do.
I tell you, we're so gullible and foolish. We've fallen for it. He got what he wanted. Anyway, so Prime Minister Davis said, quote, I am also extremely proud of the fact that we remain the same inclusive, democratic, progressive liberal party we were since we were founded 70 years ago. Okay. How very different from those other fellas who fight in their council meetings to stop each other speaking. I understand that one of the members of their own executive is taking their organization to court. Now, hold on. So we know that there's been enough turmoil within the PLP over these 70 years to fill many council rooms. So let's stop pretending. We've got many people who've left in a huff and formed their own parties, and all people who've defected and all kinds of stuff.
When there's a new leader and then a new leader of the country within that party,
you forget about
it
that.
starts all over.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's a reset.
That makes sense. Thank you for telling me that.
No problem.
Okay. But he goes on to say, quote, and why, even though he was elected by the members, they want to stop him attending their council meetings. What kind of political organization is this? What kind of political organization?
That's in the story. You're not asking that question.
No, that's the prime minister asking.
Right.
What kind of political organization tells their own people that they can't attend meetings, that they can't speak at meetings? All of them? That's my answer. They all do this, I guarantee you. And he says, they can't attend meetings, they can't speak at meetings, and then turn around and tell the Bahamian people that they're all about transparency and accountability. Quote, and when they do it to the person who was their leader just 17 months ago, it really makes you wonder, what is going on here? I can imagine everybody was cheering. And, seriously? Well, they're certainly not hiding the fact that has happened. And it really makes you wonder, well, that person led them to a great defeat. So why wouldn't they do that if they wanted to?
Right.
It would make sense. In fact, they should try to do more. Anyway, okay, let's just read the story. According to party insiders, we talked about this, an FM council meeting got heated on Thursday after Minnis objected to being blocked from speaking at an upcoming constituency association meeting. Minnis had been set to speak at the Garden Hills Constituency Association on March 7th, but the leadership reportedly communicated that this must not happen. So the Prime Minister last night at this PLP meeting said, quote, your representative is failing you. He failed the Bahamas and he's still failing you. He's so busy fighting in his own council meeting for the right to speak to Garden Hills, he's forgotten about you. And this is where I know this PLP branch will step forward and step up. There are many in this constituency who will never vote for us. That is their prerogative. But there are some who will. And they showed us in 2021. And friends, I believe that there are many, many more who are open to persuasion. They're watching what we're doing. They like what we're doing because everyone knows that in the long run, everyone benefits from the kind of competent, compassionate leadership that we're providing. That's something you would say? Okay. As a leader? Okay. We need them to support us. PLPs, on our own, we won't win this seat. But if we can attract more of the undecideds and win over some from the other side, next time around, this prize will be ours. Now, the PLP candidate in Killarney, prize. Yeah. It's a big constituency. Yeah. It's very big in terms of area. It's very, very large, very large. The PLP's candidate in Killarney, Ronald Duncombe, received 1,948 votes in the 2021 election compared to 2,501 received by Minnis. A total of 4,881 of Killarney's 7,112 registered voters voted in that election. All right. So in the 2017 general election, Minnis received 4,186 votes compared to the PLP's candidate who got 1,092 votes. All right. So they're saying they're making some inroads there, I guess. But let's get your reaction to this. What do you make? What do you make of all of that? Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Yeah, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Very good. I read basically what the Prime Minister said last night. Well, just let me send a clear message to the Prime Minister. If anybody's failing any constituency, he is failing the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Because when you look at his dismal performance over the past 18 to 19 months in this country, he should be the last in this country talking about who's failing. And guess what? He picked a fight in the right constituency. Because I can tell you one thing, Killarney ain't like some of the other constituency where he could go and talk nonsense. He picked a fight in the right constituency. Because one thing with us in Killarney, we don't play that kind of games. You don't come around here with your emotional talking nonsense in Killarney. He better make up his mind.
Is that what he did?
The other constituency where he could go and talk nonsense and expect for people to support them. The Progressive Liberal Party has failed this country miserably. And he talking about not being accountable in Killarney. He's not accountable to this country at this particular time because the things what he have done in this country, in particular immigration, and giving an account for how he give out contracts throughout the whole Commonwealth of the Bahamas. If he wants to talk about accountability, tell him let those permanent secretaries come before the Bahamian people and tell the Bahamian people how much money he give out on contracts in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas since he became Prime Minister. Let him talk sense when he come in Killarney. This ain't this place where you come half-stepping.
Okay. All right, caller. Well, again, he was at a branch meeting and just giving his views, but okay, I hear you. And let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
Listen, the previous caller, spot on. I think primarily the message that's sent out there, they have to be reminded. You're talking about accountability and transparency, especially among your people. What about the incident when the persons who wanted to run for the leadership of the party, that they were told to stand down? Is that true democracy? So there are so many things that needs to be considered here. There are many people on this ground that feels right now, as that previous caller said, despite the fact that you see little ripples in the water, that so far the performance index of this current administration is not up to the level that we expected, especially at this time. I think right now in closing, to even give a snapshot of the failure of the former administration, which should be primarily, if we really want to be serious, we know the performance of the last administration. We know about the shortcomings. We know about the one or two things that was done correctly for which they would not even give credit for. But I'm hoping that this current administration, upon acknowledging the past failures, if I could put it like that, of the former administration, does not make the same mistake, because it's we, the Bahamian people, that's feeling the after effects of non-performance and actually a whole lot of things that seem to be corrupt practices. But I'm going to end there. I'll continue to listen to the end of to the rest of the program, and if it warrants me calling back in with other commentary, then I'll do so. But thanks for taking my call, Dwight, and good morning, Chester.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Let's take some more calls, and we'll get your text messages. Lots coming in already. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Did I hear make an omelet, don't get cracked up?
You did hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you referring to anyone particular, like political party leaders?
Well, no. We were talking about the Golden Yoke Project, which we're going to be talking about in a few minutes.
Gold, remember? Say gold. Gold is the color.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's hope we don't have any rotten eggs in the bunch. How about that?
Well, you know, Dwight, while we do this, play these games, last evening on Jerome Avenue, there's a building being built just after you pass the light on the eastern side, two-story building. And there were lines of individuals just going in and taking blocks and wood and whatever they could and just carrying it right across the road. I alert the police, but that's not an issue. But it happens every night. Make an omelet, but crack the egg first.
Well, yeah, hopefully. I mean, it would be a disaster if you did it the other way. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? No, let's take that other line. Good morning. You're on the air. Okay. Let's get to the text messages then. This person says here, can Brave talk about representation? guess they're referring to what? Cat Island?
Are they from Cat Island?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But another person says here, how is it Dr. Minnis is failing the people of Killarney? What is the role of the MP in the development of his area? This country needs reform of its governance. The Bahamas should be a federal state like Canada. The BAME MPs cannot manage the city of Ottawa based on what I see here. Well, it sounds like you're talking about local government, which we desperately need. And I don't have to, don't get me started today. Don't get me started today, but you are absolutely right, Texter. But, when it's convenient, we talk about the role of the MP because when it's convenient. But anyway, this person says here, in the 70 years, the PLP has had 3 leaders. Isn't something wrong with that picture? You mean it's too few? That's what you're saying? That's what you mean? That's okay. If that's what you mean, then perhaps, yes. This person says here, as much as I'm against Dr. Minnis, he should be allowed to speak at meetings. This will also be great for the PLP to keep Dr. Minnis in the headlines. Why would that be great? Why would that be great?
But why?
Why do you think it would be great, Texter? Let us know why you think that's great. I don't think it's great. But why do you think it's great? But you see, he's the challenge is, I think, for the F&M that he's not speaking as a cheerleader for the party.
Right.
He's
speaking as a cheerleader for Minnis.
For himself, and that's why you all need me again to run this thing, because these other people.
They should just vet his speech before he goes. Maybe that's what they did. Maybe that's where they're like, you're not going to spew this.
Okay. Well, as we all know, when he doesn't stick to the script, that's when all this crazy stuff happens. Yeah. And so he would just divert from the speech and start talking off his head, and you get parables about fish and the moon and counting. This person says here, Prime Minister Davis needs to catch some illegals as opposed to the distraction. Wow. Well, you know what's going on. He can't pander to the Haitian community anymore, so he's back trying to swing and distract us. Wow, tough crowd. This person says, if Dr. Minnis comes back as leader of the F&M, I am leaving the country, and I encourage everyone else to become political migrants. And personally, I don't believe anyone who isn't a rabid supporter of Prime Minister Davis who believes what he said in that meeting.
Oh, man.
Well, you gotta.
Nobody's good enough for that person.
Push his rhetoric out, Dwight, yes, Dwight, that is a DNA on an FM operative. You don't expect any better out of them. I don't know who they're talking about. I don't know what that is. What's going on?
What?
Maybe one of the callers are talking about. I don't know what's happening. Okay. I'm not sure. Right. But a DNA who's an FM operative? Prime Minister Davis has failed Cat Island as MP for 20 plus years, so he has nothing to talk about. He needs to govern, deal with NIB, illegal immigration, and the shanty towns, and stop talking fool.
That person's not from Cat Island.
Okay. My reaction to your topic is that Brave Davis needs to sit down and shut his mouth. He is a big disgrace. Wow. He used us PLPs to help him to empower. Okay, editing some of this because this is going to get someone in trouble. Okay.
That's an angry PLP.
And then they're saying and that he would not answer his phone. He's very busy. He's the Prime Minister. He's traveling a lot. What are you talking about? Come on now.
That is somebody who didn't get what they were promised.
He's not answering his phone, they say.
He never has answered his phone.
I mean, who thinks you could just call the Prime Minister on the phone?
When he was just Brave Davis.
Well, recognize. Okay? What do you think this is?
This is nothing.
You think, what type of jokey country do you think this is? You could just pick up and call the Prime Minister?
Right?
On his cell phone, 10:30 at night. Please stop. Anyway, Prime Minister Davis, all about running, talking foolishness. He needs to concentrate on the poor people. What about the poor, Brave Davis? You turned out to be, oh my Lord, this is a hard someone. He needs to answer this person's call.
That person's hurt.
Very angry. That's 2 back-to-back angry text messages, and you need to answer his phone call. Woo. Okay.
Someone didn't get what they wanted.
Well, lots of questions about eggs already. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. This person says, we in Killarney sit back and listen to the media and the PLP pundits beat down our par excellence MP, the most honorable Dr. Minnis, But to all and sundry, Minnis is here to stay until he retires. Brave Davis has no moral compass to even open his mouth. When you mess in Killarney, you had better be careful.
What child?
So that was either that first caller or Dr. Minnis himself who sent this text, I suspect. The most honorable. Okay. Well, thank you for the text. Thank you. As long as he is in the headlines, the Bahamian people will remember the treatment they got from the competent authority. You think so? I don't think so. I think memories are very short. Memories are very short.
Especially in Killarney.
Yeah, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I'm like, I don't think people remember how he was denying for weeks. Everybody said about, there's going to be an early election. Everybody said it. Never in history have we had all the candidates ratified almost a year before the election was due.
Yeah.
Never before. People were ratified like days before normally.
Yeah.
And we had everybody ratified. And he said, no election. Only one man knows when the election is going to be. And you remember all those young people whose birthdays had just happened, or they were just like, okay, I still have time. And then the election was called, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't register. People were crying. You remember this?
Yeah.
And we had Jeff Lloyd, a cabinet minister, in the studio when we learned that the House was going to be prorogued, and he was in shock and didn't know and had to call. Nobody knew anything.
Yeah.
This is the type of chaos we had, especially towards the end there.
Yeah.
People don't remember those things. People don't remember those things at all. But anyway, this person says, your first two callers bleed red and lack objectivity. This is Lent. Hope they consider giving up something, hopefully politics.
We need more of that.
You're wishing them to end caller. I don't think that a texter. That's not nice, because that's all. If you don't have politics here, what do you have?
Do you even remember who the PLP put to run in Killarney? Because I do not.
I mean, the article just told me.
I don't remember who it was.
Had it not been for the article, I would not have remembered. No.
I mean...
Ronald Duncan.
See? I only remember there was a van parked up right before Sappadilla with his face on it for a long time. And I think it was still there after the election, too. That's the only thing I remember.
Right.
If you want to win Killarney, you got to put a big boy in there.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, it's too risky.
It's too risky losing the big boy?
Yeah.
Well, go big or go home.
Oh, okay. What say you, caller? Do you agree with that? Hi, good morning. You're on the air. Yes, good morning. Still having that issue.
Maybe Brave Davis should vie for that seat as the sub-head says in our paper.
Wouldn't that be something? The two leaders go head to head.
Yeah.
Right. The closest we ever get to directly voting for the leader. I'd move to Killarney for that. Ah, boy. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Good morning, Stephen.
Yeah,
Chester.
yes,
Chester.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chester. What's up?
Good. Everything's good.
Let me tell you something. I don't want to see none of that. Brave need to go by one of them pharmacy and get himself some ginkgo biloba so he can try to remember what's going on around him. And I don't even want to see Minnis run past Goodman's Bay. You understand? Thanks for taking my call.
I don't think he's good that far.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We've got another call on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there?
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
Okay. First-time caller.
Welcome.
But I had to call this morning. Tell the Prime Minister, and I hope that him and his cronies are listening, that the only thing he's privileged for is to be living in Killarney. That's as far as it's going with the PLP. So I don't know why he's trying to jump on a bandwagon as to what the papers or rumors have claimed that what has happened in Armiding last week. I'm a resident of Killarney. Tell Brave he's supposed to be the Prime Minister of the country, not taking away people's jobs and what have you because he feels that they are not PLP supporters. I'm speaking personally because it was done to my husband, who is a full Bahamian in every sense of the word in Killarney, because he feels that certain last names does not support the PLP. So tell Brave until he learned to play fair game, and also tell him, stay out of Killarney business, stay out of the FNM business. The same thing he told our leader now, Michael Pintar, to stay out of his business then. It was advised for him to shuffle the cabinet. I'm saying it now.
Okay.
Tell Brave, stay out Killarney business. stay out there for them business and clean up all his mess and stop acting like a bird. God made him a man, supposedly. He's flying around the country on our tax dollars, and when he runs short, he raises something else in the government. Everything has been risen in the past 18 months on our money, suffering the middle class, trying to bring us down. Down. But it isn't going to happen because the God on the mountain is also the God in the valley. Tell him his time is short. If election is called today, Braid is gone. Thank you. Have a good day.
Wow, okay. Thank you very much.
Some passion coming
My
from
goodness
Killarney
gracious.
today.
Early in the morning, too.
Yeah. I was wondering where she's going with the bird.
Yeah,
thing.
that was confusing.
I thought maybe laying eggs, because that's the theme
What
today.
now?
But I don't know. Yeah.
Dear Lord, you are a troublemaker.
I don't know, I'm
You
just
really
saying.
are. You need prayers, sir. Okay, let's take some more calls before we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there?
Yes, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Chester.
Morning.
Yeah, we can leave Killarney. We can leave Killarney with the FNM, right? And we can leave Cat Island with the PLP, right? So that the BMN people could see the failures of these leaders. Because what I'm saying now, in 1 year time, the PLP is going to be fighting in what? Because no way in God's earth that the PLP is going to allow Philip Brave Davis to even get close to the next general election, right? Because he is not relevant now.
What?
So he can never be relevant after a next general election. Chester Cooper can be their leader. Now, when it comes to the FNM, right? The FNM is at its weakest point today ever, right? I've been at FNM all my life, but the FNM was at the weakest point ever, right? The present opposition leader, he I don't know where he is, right? I thought he would have been more relevant to the Babel people, but it appears that he is on the same pathways of all of our opposition leaders, but just sitting there hoping for things to get worse so that they could sit inside the seat. So once they allow Minnis to keep the situation going and Mr. Pindar continue in his quietness, right? Where else do the BMN people have to go, right? Because at the end of the day, the BMN people did not support Brave Davis coming into this general election because all Minnis, right? So what I can see down the road, right? We are heading to a paradigm shift, and ain't nobody wanna identify it, But the BMN people are tired. They are fed up. Every day is the same day. It was never no new day. Every day is the same day inside this country. The people was suffering before Minnis. They suffered after Minnis. And if we continue with this PLP, F&M back and forthness, in the hopes that somebody can do worse than the other, because we're not cheering for these people for doing things that benefit generations of BMNs. That ain't what the chair is all about. We are cheering for failed leaders, and that's why we find ourselves in this country in the position we are today. You guys have a nice day.
Okay. Wow.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah. Well, boy, I tell you. But I mean, to something he said that this is what the opposition does, though. They just wait and hope that the party in charge implodes.
But that is a toxic trait of our country and like the electorate. Because if you look at it, half of the country is hoping the government fails so that their people can come in.
Yeah.
And then
so they
the
get
roles
their
reverse.
contracts and get
And then the roles reverse. The next people hoping for this party to fail. And then what happens? We all fail. We all die on this bed of hatred.
Wild. One final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Chester.
Hi.
Can I send some congratulations out? I'd like to congratulate the Prime Minister Communications team on a wonderful job of distraction by taking the least effective Prime Minister we've had so far, except I think this one will beat him, and put him in front and center. It allows the people to not discuss the fact that inflation has went up 6% food prices went up 11%. Healthcare crisis is struck. We still have a shanty town problem. The economy is collapsing as we're about to have the budget debate. What else you want to throw into there? Because the Prime Minister absolutely know that Minnis is not an option except to basically stir multiple pots with one spoon. If you take into the fact that Dwight, remember, if you go back to when I used to call your show when most people didn't know, and I gave you a date of 18 months saying that Minnis would not make it to November 1st, 2021. Well, the data says that this current administration things remains the same in our economic picture, outlook, and the smoke and mirrors. If you remember during that conversation, too, I told you Michael Alcides in the previous administration is the only person that actually had me convinced that the rabbit was actually in the hat. And he's doing an excellent job again. But September of 2024, when we look at the increase of this budget, supposed to be anticipated at $4 billion with no revenue growth, no economic growth to support it, you could put September of 2024, unless some miracle happens in the economy, is the next election day.
Of 2024?
2024.
That's
and
insane.
Here's what happens.
Really
we'll
quickly,
have a
really
smoke
quickly.
and mirror budget this year, right? And there'll be no economic growth. Let's use just one here. The government says revenues is up, right? But deficit is up. But if you look at the budget, what was actually spent? Have we built any new schools? Have we built any new hospitals? Have we made any major road improvements except for one? But yet, if you haven't spent the hundreds of millions of dollars, then how is it that your deficit is up, even though your revenue may be up? But then you do a comparative analysis to previous year or the previous 2 years when the revenues is at all-time low.
Yeah.
And so you have this smoke and mirror type environment, and then you're going to come with this major budget with no economic growth. Here in Grand Bahama, you see what the newspapers say, they're bragging that they're going to hit a $10 million profit when they have the lowest amount of customers in the last 5 years. And so these are things that is happening. That caller, seemed like a young caller, is absolutely correct. The world is even shifting economic models into a new paradigm shift. We're sitting around discussing how could we restore our history, the economic history of the past. So we are in a country in crisis. We're going to help one, supposed to be Haiti. Yes, joke. We're going to help Haiti in crisis, economic crisis, right, where 50% of their revenue comes from remittances.
Yeah.
And that we going to help them. I guess we're going to send more remittances to them. But we haven't fixed our economy. We haven't had any real conversation on exactly how we're going to fix our economy and get these thousands of young people back to work. 70% unemployment among the young, maybe 40% among everybody else. No real issues are having discussions, and we are. But you know what? This end say this: if you keep electing clowns, you'll always have a circus.
All right. Thanks a lot. Some interesting numbers there. I don't know about 2024, but I mean, to be fair, the government says they're going to break ground on, not just break ground, but on some new hospitals this year. And, we'll see. But some messages really quickly as we go to the break. This person says here, agree with the previous caller, Pintard is not an effective leader, and Sands is a huge disappointment as chairman. Another one says here, former Prime Minister Minnis is a guest speaker at a Rotary Club event tomorrow. I am no Minnis fan, but let him speak. Well, that's different, though. I mean, Rotary is not the same thing, so they can't stop him there. This person says that you don't have to be a Cat Island resident to know that Davis has failed Cat Island for 3 decades. Person says here, Prime Minister Minnis was the worst Prime Minister we have ever had in this country, and what made it worse is his unfair handling of the COVID crisis, empowering the rich while putting his foot on the neck of the poor. Prime Minister Minnis is showing how selfish he is by continuing to be a distraction instead of helping mend, I think they're trying to say, the damage he did while in office. Boy. This one says here, Brave Davis is a very nice man. He's generous. He gives a lot of money out, so you could have a good impression about him and talk good about him, but he's a political waste of time. Oh my goodness. Okay. And the middle class is shrinking fast. That's a text. All right, so there's a lot of back and forth this morning, and it sounds like we're in trouble no matter which way we go. Let's take a break, though. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Lord, thunder follow lightning, soldier crab walking in the sand. Rick and Creep is the sweetest music that you hear in the Bahama land. Oh, call the fire engine, run, tell them come quick. I can feel my temperature rising, never will Rick and Creep like this. Lord, all over my body, from my head straight down to my feet. Ancient beat, they spank on the good drum and the soul, Lord, the beat so sweet. Oh, call the fire engine.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. RBC's mortgage specialists can provide helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. At this hour, we're seeing some heavy traffic and real-time traffic on West Bay Street near Saunders Beach. That's eastbound as you get to the roundabout with New Providence Highway and out exiting that roundabout, heading further east to Arawak Key. Looking busy in that area. Extremely busy at this hour. Arawak Key westbound also seeing some heavy traffic. So keep that in mind. Perhaps there's an incident out there, so you might want to avoid the area if you can. Six-Leg Roundabout also busy for you eastbound on JFK Drive. And Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic from Fire Trail straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. The congestion is back on Gladstone Road as well, from just north of Fire Trail straight up to JFK Drive. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic from Carmichael up to Independence Drive. Cowpen Road looking busy for you at a number of spots, especially near Faith Avenue and especially as you approach Blue Hill Road eastbound at this hour. Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road also looking busy for you. And then Eastern Road just from about Camperdown to about Johnson Road and Prince Charles Drive near Beatrice Avenue and Fox Hill Road at those intersections. And Prince Charles and Soldier Road, Robinson from Soldier straight up to Old Trail, heavy traffic there. And lots of traffic on Soldier Road at various spots, especially near Windsor Place, and on the way up to Village Road, Wolf Road, and Bernard Road. So heavy traffic this morning. Good luck to you. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist. We'll be back with more morning blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Whether you're looking for your first or new home or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL. Growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Is your 2023 goal to move into your own home? Well, future homeowner, enjoy another payday. Build or buy a home with financing from CIBC First Caribbean, and you'll receive cash back every month for 1 year. A home is one of your greatest investments, so secure one soon. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/homeowners payday for more info. Offer valid from January 9 through to March 31, 2023. Terms and conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning, first day of March. All right, so we're going to break for news in a bit, but we're going to get just a teaser of what we're talking about this morning. And it's the Golden Yolk Project. It was announced this week, and it's very exciting about egg production and the big goals we have for the country in terms of egg production. And joining us this morning, very pleased to have with us the Minister of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs, Clay Sweeting, and we have the General Manager for BAIC, Troy Sampson. Gentlemen, great to have you with us. Great to see you again, Minister.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Dwight. Good to be here.
Chester. Morning.
All right, so before we get into it, just paint a picture for us about eggs. We know the prices are skyrocketing, but what are we looking at in terms of production right now?
Right. So currently, Dwight, nationwide per year, we produce around 750,000 eggs. Once this project is completed, we should produce around 27 to 28 million eggs per year, which would help to eliminate imports on eggs production every year.
That is a big difference.
Mhm.
What's the consumption? We know the consumption annually?
Yeah, that's a consumption. So the consumption is around 27 to 28 million eggs per year. And I'm sure as we grow, you see the tourist numbers growing every month. I'm sure that the number would change, but that's the current number as it stands.
Okay, all right, so we're going to talk about this, how this project will get us to that point, and it's very exciting. And stay tuned. We're going to break for the news for just a bit and be right back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:22, time for another check of your weather for today. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got persistent high pressure anchored over the area. That's going to continue to produce the dry and very warm conditions that we've been seeing. That's going to continue for the next few days. Swimmers and boaters should be alert for rip currents, though, along Atlantic shorelines. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny and very warm conditions. Turning mostly cool tonight with clear skies. Temperatures getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius for your highs. Lows tonight getting down about 63 Fahrenheit, 17 Celsius. In your extended outlook, deep layered high pressure will continue to dominate the weather across the country with mostly dry and stable conditions prevailing through Friday. So for tomorrow, Thursday, partly to mostly sunny and very warm during the day, mainly fair and mild at night. Pretty much the same for Friday. Partly sunny, warm, breezy during the day, mainly fair and breezy at night. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And time for another check of traffic brought to you by RBC. RBC's mortgage specialists can provide helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. In your real-time traffic, again, we've got some issues on West Bay Street, especially near Saunders Beach, eastbound traffic, heavy traffic there as you approach the roundabout with New Providence Highway, and east of the roundabout as well as you head east toward Arawak. Heavy traffic there. And we were seeing some stalled traffic at Arawak, near Arawak westbound as well, so perhaps an incident in that area. If you can avoid West Bay Street, you might want to do that this morning. That's causing some delays on New Providence Highway northbound to the roundabout with West Bay Street near Saunders Beach. So, again, that's another area to avoid. Further south on New Providence Highway, heavy traffic at the six-legged roundabout, and you've got multiple directions with issues there. So, southbound on New Providence Highway, eastbound on JFK Drive, and northbound on Mile Brother Highway. So keep that in mind, another area to possibly avoid. Mile about the highway, seeing heavy traffic from well south of Fire Trail straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway in the northbound lanes. Gladstone Road also busy for you, just north of Fire Trail straight up to JFK Drive. Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road, busy there for you as well. And Carmichael near Faith Avenue and Mile Brother Highway. And further east near Blue Hill Road busy for you from St. Vincent straight up to Independence Drive. Cowpen Road seeing issues near Faith Avenue, but also, especially as you approach Blue Hill Road, that's looking busy for you this morning. Elsewhere, as usual, Eastern Road and Prince Charles Drive, heavy traffic there near Fox Hill, both areas, and Prince Charles and Beatrice Avenue, and Prince Charles and Soldier Road and Robinson Road. Robinson, heavy traffic between Soldier and Old Trail. And Soldier Road just not looking like a place you want to be this morning. Multiple issues near East Street and Windsor Place, near Old Trail, and north, heading toward Bernard and Wolf and Village Road. So those are your hottest spots, but there's a lot of traffic this morning. Good luck to you. Your real-time traffic and traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
Whether you're looking for your first or new home, or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique, and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
It's worse than not having any. I've had my share, and from now on, I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm betting everything I got on you. Mama, I'm giving all my love to one baby.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards.
I don't know where you find these songs.
We're putting all our eggs in one basket, but in the good way, right? We're talking with Clay Sweeting, the Minister for Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs, and Troy Sampson, the General Manager for BAIC. We're talking about the Golden Yoke Project. Okay, so before the break, you told us about where we're going to go from, I think you said it was 750,000. That's how much we are producing now, locally.
Correct.
Okay, but the consumption is upwards of...
Right. Around 27 to 28 million eggs per year.
My goodness.
Which is around $12.5 million.
in importing eggs.
Correct.
My goodness. So this is going to make a difference, and we're going to produce all that we consume at this point, basically, if we go
That's
ahead.
the point.
Yeah.
And,
All right.
and also to keep the money in country as well.
Yeah. All right. So give us some background information on the project, how it came to be, and when we're going to start to see the eggs of our labor.
That's excited.
Right.
So upon taking office, we were looking at products that would be bankable not just for us in regards to food security, but a way where farmers could actually make money. So we traveled to Jamaica, to Guyana, a few other Caribbean countries to see what they're doing and how we can do better here and find other ways that, in Jamaica and Guyana, they don't import anything in regards to poultry, very, very small amounts.
Wow.
Whether it's broilers or layers. So we looked at the models that's been successful there. And so with this, we just took the same model in regards to contract farming. We're not reinventing the wheel with this. It's something that's successful, and it's so successful in other Caribbean countries that you can actually go to the bank and it's pre-approved for a lot of these type projects. So for this, it's a contract farming arrangement where, and I want to be very clear, the government isn't getting into egg production.
Okay.
What we're doing is we're facilitating a special purpose vehicle where we provide the inputs, which includes the feed, the chicken, the veterinary services, the antibiotics or whatever's needed to keep the birds healthy. And then in turn, these farmers are contracted by the special purpose vehicle. And then these farmers would then sell the eggs back to the special purpose vehicle, and then we'll deduct whatever it costs to raise the birds and then pay them the net profit. It's been quite successful. It's created an environment that is deemed for success. So we're excited about it. We are trying to help Bahamians, help Bahamian farmers, at the same time reduce imports. This project should reduce imports by 1%, which is a big number compared to where we've been in the past years.
Yeah. And when will we start to see the benefits of this?
We would hope by end of year you would see some of the projects up off the ground. The feed mill has already been ordered. So this is the first time in 40 years that a government has invested in a feed mill. Over the past few years, 30 years, we had difficulty providing feed, not just for poultry farmers, but for livestock farmers, for piggery. So for this to be a new automated to ensure that the birds and livestock gets not just feed when they need it, but also good quality feed for the animals as well.
All right, so break it down as simply as possible. Where will this be taking place with the production, and where are the birds coming from? What can you tell us about that? Troy Sampson, can you tell us about that?
Sure. So the epicenter of the project is going to be at the Gladstone Road Agricultural Center off of Gladstone Road, commonly referred to as GRAC. And you're going to see approximately 6 to 7 layer houses that each can hold 10,000 layer birds. And so you're talking about 60 to 70,000 laying birds that'll be housed in 6 to 7 grow houses. Average size of them about 500 feet by 50 feet to accommodate the number of birds. These are what's called, in technical terms, tunnel ventilated houses that are semi-automated. And so it's not going to be particularly labor intensive, but at the same time, it's going to be, I think as Minister mentioned, surrounded and supported with veterinary services. And each of the houses will not be operated by anybody from the government, but by individual farmers that are contracted to, provide good agricultural practices, manage the birds, manage the laying, and then sell the eggs to the special purpose vehicle that will then get them into the market through the wholesalers and retailers.
So then what will we see on the shelves in terms of the brand? Is it SPV eggs?
No, Golden Yolk brand.
Golden Yolk eggs.
Golden
Okay,
Yolk,
great.
So no matter which farm you are, it'll all be branded.
It'll all be branded Golden Yolk.
Yolk eggs.
Yeah,
right.
they'll be Golden Yolk because the SPV would be the facilitator.
Right.
So the agribusiness part of it, we eliminate that issue for the farmer. So they don't have to make the connection to the distributors or to the wholesalers. We're able to create that environment for them.
Right.
So, all the farmers would have to do is what they're great at, and that's farm.
Mm-hmm. So you will be doing the marketing, the government, or how would that work?
The special
exactly?
purpose vehicle.
They will, right. Okay.
Which this entity, their only job is to create an environment for the Golden Yoke Project to succeed.
Right.
They're not managed by another entity, so they'll have a manager that VAT servicing and all of that right there.
Now we see people asking about the existing producers. How are they be integrated in somehow, or how is that going to work?
So the existing producers will help to. Well, one thing is we're purchasing a new feed mill, right? And we'll also assist them through training and development, if needed, through the project they have needed. This purpose vehicle, though, would be just to contract farmers here at Gladstone Road. We would help integrate them into the market. So currently, they produce 750,000 eggs nationwide. And as the market grows, we'll analyze it and see how we need to maneuver to ensure to integrate them. But once we get this management facility in order, then we would also assist them if need be with VAT, because there's a challenge with VAT services, especially in the poultry sector. So they'll have access to all of these products at home. A lot of times, especially in business, if you got an issue, you have to order, wait a few weeks for it to come. But we'll have everything right at home to assist them.
All right. So if you are a local farmer, you can apply to be a part of the program, or how does that work exactly?
Well, there aren't any farmers that are eliminated from applying. I mean, ultimately, we want all the farmers that are interested to apply. Obviously, you're talking about 6 or 7 houses, and so there's limited capacity, to participate. But there's nobody that is eliminated. If you're a Bahamian citizen of mature age or a qualifying age, then which would be 18, certainly you can apply. And I believe too, just to add to what Minister said, that as this project grows, the environment for all poultry and egg farmers and opportunities grow as well. So the thing that we want to do is become self-sufficient in this country through this project, as well as the production of independent farmers.
And I also want to add to that, this is not a Nassau-centric project either.
Right, I was going to ask you about that.
Right, so we're expanding to the family islands, to 12 major islands, to ensure that local egg production is maximized there as well, so they can produce enough eggs for their communities, for their islands. So, I mean, we looked at this holistically. We've been working on this for 8 months to ensure that we are able to touch as many Bahamians as possible. And then, we also sometimes only look at the direct involvement of the contract farmers. But there's also opportunities for packaging. There's opportunities for trucking. There's opportunities for persons who want to be VATs to get involved. So there's so many other spin-off opportunities that could come from this project.
Yeah.
Once the birds are not able to lay anymore. Some in other countries they use the same birds for canned chicken. You can't use the same for what you want to eat in the grocery store.
Yeah.
But so it's a lot of spin-offs from you could grow feed to put into the feed mill. So we're just trying to jumpstart a sub-industry in this sector, and hopefully in a few years you'll see something that we all can be proud of as Bahamians as we fight food insecurity.
Is there an opportunity for other egg producers to sell to the SPV?
Currently, the SPV would be just for that. I mean, I'm sure that as we move along, but most of the time right now, the egg producers sell to their communities.
Right.
Very few, if any, sell in the grocery stores because there's such a high demand.
Right.
Very few times you'll see actual eggs in the grocery stores themselves. If you go in the grocery store today, 9 chances out of 10 they're imported eggs. So, I just think that as we continue to move, it's fluid because this is a new venture that we're working on. It's never been done before. And we'll do what we can to make sure that Bahamians are involved in any way possible.
And if I just add to that as well, keeping in mind, as Minister said earlier, that this is a contract relationship.
Okay.
So that the terms and the expectations
Right,
become very clear between the parties. And so, to the extent, again, if an independent farmer is interested, then he can apply to be a part of the program. But it's in terms of whether, we can engage them independently without some type of framework in place to ensure, it would be kind of challenging.
There's a standardized quality, size, I guess, all of that. Number of eggs per however.
It's a brand. So this
right.
golden yolk brand, when
Right.
you walk in the grocery store, you can imagine walking in the grocery store and you know that you're going for a golden yolk brand.
Right.
That you say, look, man, this was grown right out at Gladstone Road in my home. It's something of pride for me to go in the grocery store and be able to pick that up and say, look, these are not imported eggs.
Right.
That's 3 weeks old.
Yeah. All right, so I think you've answered it already, but this is, I guess, one of those farmers. They're saying the farmers market on Gladstone Road is is the oldest and largest farmers market on New Providence, covering 17 years. We have almost a dozen farmers underneath reach. Please say what can be done to assist local markets as such.
In regards to poultry?
Yeah, with eggs.
I mean, we'll continue to assist them, but I think that one of the major challenges for poultry farmers is the feed. A lot and livestock. So a lot of persons that want to get involved in these sectors are not able to get because of the reliability of the feed mill. That's why it's so important for the feed mill to be a part of this project, to provide them with proper servicing in regards to feed. We'll also have, like you say, vet services that come along with this project, that they're able to provide them with free vet services in that regard. So, it's a holistic approach. I think that this is a way to get, one thing I can say what it's done, it's created an excitement around agriculture within the
we
past
see what you
week.
did there. Excitement, right? Yeah. We should have had an egg pun counter. But, all right, so...
They're going to be coming by the dozen.
All right, so tell us a little more about the Family Islands, how that's going to work, and what we're going to see and when we're going to see.
Right, so the Family Islands would be phase 2. Phase 1 would be New Providence. Phase 2 would be Family Islands, where the contractor from the U.S. who's providing these climate-smart layer houses would be smaller units that would be dispersed throughout the Family Islands in a similar way that they've done now. They'll be done with New Providence site, where they'll be contracted. They'll be able to be utilized, and then they'll have access to the same facilities or the same services that the farmers in New Providence would have.
But it'd be mainly for that island's consumption.
Correct.
Not
Correct.
necessarily to export.
Right. So each island, we've analyzed on basically what their consumption is. So, for example, if we put a house in Eleuthera, it would be smaller than the one in Grand Bahama. Because the amount of people, the consumption, and all of that. So we already did all of the analytics in that regard to see the number of houses, where they should be located, and how they can provide the best egg production for their communities.
All right, so I guess that answers this question that we have on our Twitter page, that Golden Yolk could have been the perfect project to totally avoid Nassau and bring life to another family island, another family island economy.
So
But,
we're doing that.
right.
I'm from the Family Island, so.
But I get, from what you're saying, it sounds like you want to keep it fresh, so it'll be on that island instead of having to ship it to another island.
Correct.
That's what, right?
So
that's
so
what
they
we're-
keep the nutritional
Yeah.
value as well. I mean,
Right.
in regards to not just eggs, but even produce, by the time the produce gets in country, we already lose 75% of its nutritional value.
Yeah.
By the time it hits the shelves.
Wow.
Not when it's purchased, but when it hits the shelves.
Do you see this project possibly growing to a size where we can end up exporting eggs?
I think it's quite possible. I think that, any great idea starts with a dream. It starts with people that believe in the vision, and you put it together. And if people stay excited, as they are, about this project, and we continue to grow, I don't see why not we can't export to other countries as well. I mean, that would be the tip of the iceberg for us. I mean, that would be something that's monumental.
We eat a lot of eggs around here, though. So, I don't know.
Another point to note too, with the dispersion of the houses across the Family Islands, 12 Family Islands, you're looking at 38 houses. It is also a risk mitigator because in the unlikely and hopefully never to happen event that we have a catastrophic hurricane on New Providence, it wouldn't be where the country is without eggs, and the family islands are finding themselves now unable to feed themselves, or vice versa. That wherever there may be a challenge, other islands can now step up and help to support them.
Yeah. There's an interesting text here. Someone says there's a serious issue with theft on Gladstone Road. Is that going to become an issue for this project at all? What are you doing to mitigate that, I guess?
So I think that's why it's so important when we speak about this controlled environment for this project. So, all these houses are on one site. They'll be fenced, and also the security personnel will be there to ensure to protect the investment there. So this particular site for the Golden Yoke project in Gladstone Road will be protected to help alleviate the possibility of theft.
Would there be thief in the Gladstone Road?
And just to add to that too, keep in mind that the site at Gladstone Road is not a sales site. It's not a retail site. It's a production site.
Correct.
And the SPV will collect all the eggs that are produced there and put them into the market with the wholesalers and retailers. So you won't have people just showing up to buy eggs.
Yeah. So is I don't know if I missed this. Well, actually, can I ask? The birds that are going to be doing the laying, are they coming mature, or they need to be matured?
No, they're going to come in as chicks, and they will brood. I think it's a period of about 14 weeks, if I stand to be corrected.
Right.
But for a particular period of time until their first laying.
We'll have a pullet house as well to raise those in a separate facility at the same location.
All right. Somebody's asking about that as well. Are these going to be genetically enhanced or modified, and are you limiting the use of hormones?
Yeah, so they're being raised, with the regular feed there. They're not being genetically modified in any way. So they'll be as much organic as possible.
Okay. All right. And that was going to be one of my questions. Organic, but these are not going to be free range, though, right?
So these are, again, 500 by 50 grow houses that permit the birds to move around with relative ease, and so it's not the caged situation where they're just stuck in a cage for their entire life. No, they're able to roam around the house.
They're gonna lay happy eggs.
All right, this is an interesting text. Somebody says, I haven't bought eggs for months because of the price. When can I look forward to seeing the local eggs in the stores, and what price point are we looking at here? How much of a drop are we likely to see?
Right. So we're being very aggressive with the timeline. I'm probably overly aggressive with a lot of projects that I'm involved in. I wouldn't want to set a timeline, but I would hope to see at least a golden egg laid in the golden year. That would be what I would like to see. So we're pushing for that. In regards to price point, in business, a lot of things go into that, whether it's the price of feed, the cost of feed to import, the ingredients to make the feed, electricity, and all of these other elements until we get the houses fully solarized. But so to put a price point today could be very different than. But I will say the intention is to lower the cost of eggs much more than what they are at the grocery store. And also not only to lower the cost, but to give a stable price on eggs in the country. So if you grow in country, then you can manage the price much better than if you're importing and you're susceptible to import markets.
All right, so you might have to say this again. Some people tuning in the middle and still a little confused. So they're asking, who then are the actual owners? Are there actual owners of this and the Golden Yoke brand? What exactly? What's the best way to describe it?
It's the special purpose vehicle would own the brand.
Yeah.
The farmers are contracted by the special purpose vehicle to sell back to them, who would then have contracts with producers, or not producers, but wholesalers and distributors within the country. What was exciting was that on Monday when we did the groundbreaking, a good number of those distributors were actually at the groundbreaking. So I think that speaks to their support for the project as well, because they want to support locally grown produce as well.
Yeah.
But so that's how it works. It's a contract arrangement. So the farmers are in charge of their own destiny, and like we say, it's up to them to ensure that they take care of the birds, and if they are not up to par of what their contract arrangement is, to ensure that this project is successful, then someone else will get the opportunity. So this isn't something where we're just investing money, branding a project in hopes that people like the PR behind it. The idea for this is to be a successful laying project to ensure that Bahamians see the vision, what we see, and they're able to touch, feel how we look to try to fight food insecurity in this country.
Now, we know how sectors like the hotel industry and stuff goes. Like, have you had to speak to them about what kind of quality they're looking for in eggs for like a buy-in or?
Right. So I think, and that's where what set eggs apart from, say, tomatoes, or say from, because tomatoes, they'll have a certain quality, spots, and all of that. An egg is an egg.
Okay.
I mean, as long as it's locally grown, they'll be able to produce the size that's needed. So for that, there's not as much. You don't have very little wiggle room on what you're trying to produce.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. And that goes back to the earlier question you asked about whether the project intends to engage other independent farmers, because there's a certain quality assurance that when you have this kind of contract arrangement with certain controls in place that you can give to the market, as opposed to random relationships that you have no influence over. You don't know whether there's good agricultural practices taking place. You don't know the quality of the feed or the birds, because at some point, birds get to a point that they call them spent hens. It's around 12 to 18 months that you change them out because they get to the point of diminishing returns in terms of their production. And so, all of these things, kind of, as Minister's saying, are a part of the framework to ensure that once the project is rolled out, that the expectation and the consistency and the quality is always there.
This texter's asking about bird flu. It's been a big problem all over the world. But they're asking, how are you going to work around that challenge there?
But I think there again, we speak to doing it locally. So once we get the chicks, we raise the birds, and then we're able to control a lot of these elements, and it helps to eliminate some of that. And it's also an approach where all the other entities, along with BIC, are working towards. So BAMC has purchased incubators to raise chicks there at the site in Andros. BAFSA, which is the health and food safety arm of my ministry, is all working with the Golden Yolk Project to ensure that the quality controls are in place, the packaging is proper, and all of these elements, the entities are working together to ensure that when we put these eggs on the shelf, all the T's are crossed, all the I's dotted, to ensure that the product that Bahamians purchase is up to standard.
Yeah, the biosecurity protocol is one of the big things that we're focused on to ensure that it's all the mitigations are there to avoid any outbreaks.
So after the hens come in for the Golden Yolk Project, we're gonna raise. When we get rid of the spent hens, we're gonna have the new hens already being raised locally.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a rotation.
Rotation.
And you can't. Our chickens you can't put all at the same time in the houses, because you have to rotate to ensure that you have full production at any given time.
All right. So can you be someone who is new to this and be part of this, or just say I have a love of hens and I want to do eggs, or do you need to have that background, that history, to be part of it?
Well, I mean, I don't. I think that anyone needs training in whatever new avenue you take. I mean, some people get it from their grandfather. Some people get it from specialized individuals. But we have a consultant that's worked along with us, actually a Bahamian, Justin Taylor, who's been in the poultry industry for a long time, and he's been training persons throughout the country during these past years on how to properly take care of the chickens in regards to layer production. He's actually provided a lot of layer chickens to persons throughout the family islands as well. So like I say, it's not hard to get into. We encourage people to get into the agricultural sector, whether it's through egg production or other areas as well. I mean we have to remember too that this is only one facet that we're targeting, because it only eliminates 1%. We also have a lot of projects that we're looking at to eliminate imports in other ways. But we're ensuring that we're aggressive and we're direct and focused on the areas we're allocating to ensure that they're successful.
Yeah. To add, Dwight, just a little bit more to that questioner, there's also some set-asides for this project for the houses for youth, for women, and for the disabled.
Okay.
And so it really takes into consideration the entire population and the opportunity that can be created, because I think the person, asking whether if they're new, which could be suggestive of perhaps them being young or otherwise.
That's actually my question. I wouldn't know if I could just get it.
Definitely,
sure.
looking for set-asides for youth, for women, and for disabled persons as well.
I know we're running out of time. I just want to get, if we can, one call in, and I got a couple of messages really quickly. But caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
I have a few questions, and I may have missed it because I was in and out of my car. What is going to be the difference in terms of this project being successful versus the other historically wonderful egg producers that we had in the country that had to go out of business because they could not sustain themselves because the government of the day taxed them out of business? That's number one. Number two, what kind of protocols are going to be in place where can we go to be satisfied that these eggs are produced without a lot of fertilization, or that they're going to be healthy for us and not mass-produced by injecting chemicals to produce them faster? And last question, where can we go to find out who is this private sector person or persons that are funding and obviously they must be gaining from it because nobody's going to go into this kind of business without there being a benefit. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Okay, it's a lot of questions there. All right, which one do you want to take first? Well, I guess the past is the past, but taxes in the past. But okay,
Right. So I don't know. I can't speak to past administrations, and I wouldn't like to, but I would say that in other countries, such as Jamaica and Guyana and other Caribbean regions, where they're at, say, lane houses or lane projects, they ensure that the government created an environment, whether it's by import incentives, whether it's duty rates, increasing duty rates to protect the investment. So we're already looking at how we do that. I wouldn't want to preempt how cabinet would approve or what it would approve, but we have already discussed policy amendments to ensure that this project and other projects in the poultry sector is protected in that regard. So that part we are aware of, and we have already put the necessary things in place to try to see how best, whether it's through tax incentives or duty rates, increasing duty rates to protect the subsector.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other part about the private sector involvement here, what can you say about that, the private partner?
No, I mean, I'm not sure. We never mentioned that we have private investor in this project. Mm-hmm. So,
and the other part was how will you know if they're, I guess, the hormones and what they're. I mean, I don't know how you know about any eggs. Really, you just go by what people, right? How do you know? Unless you buy them right out from a farm,
from the chicken,
right?
So,
and if even if you buy it from the chicken, I don't think you get to investigate. But I can say that we're raising them, and like I said before, on site without injecting all the hormones and stuff, and we're using the best protocol in regards to feed, importation, and how we mix a feed to ensure it's a proper recipe for the birds that we're raising at the time.
I know you have to go, and the phone lines are lit up, so hopefully you can come back another time and talk to the people. But this texter says, make sure the chickens are raised with good rake and scrape and junkanoo music being played for them around the clock. So that might help. That might help.
We'll install speakers.
All right, so I have to ask you this because this is my thing. But local government for New Providence, how are we looking with that? What can you tell us? What's the latest on this? Minister, since that also is under your portfolio.
Right. So currently, we're looking at the family islands. We put out a 19-member team that finished their report about 2 months ago. That report has then been sent to be assessed by the Attorney General's office on how we can improve local government in the family islands. Being from the family island, I understand the challenges that it currently faces in operation. I believe in local government. I just think it's a lot more ways that we can improve. So for me, I feel, and I heard you on the radio earlier today saying that that was a passion of yours. But I feel that we have to ensure that local governments in the family islands are run properly. A lot of times they're strapped for cash. They can't inject into capital works because of the subvention. So one of the things that we're doing, or we hope to do if it could get approved by cabinet, is that they are able to raise money, raise revenue, to do capital projects within their communities, help to build their communities in that regard. Yeah. So for me, I want to ensure that family islands are covered, are done properly, that the local government there is functioning how we envision it in the 21st century. And then once we get that, then we can look at, we wouldn't want to implement local government in New Providence and it's still cash strapped. It can't operate in its intention, as we are on some family islands now.
Mm-hmm. So is that likely to happen during this current term for this administration?
I can't say, but because we're still fine tuning the family islands now. So once we get that, then I'll come back and you can ask me that next. The next one.
All right. Well, I certainly will. But thank you very much, Mr. Clay Sweeting and Troy Sampson. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm sure we'll talk some more about the Golden Yoke Project. But it is very exciting, and looking forward to what comes out of it. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to break for news and then be back with Morning Blend Business. Stay with us.
The fire is worse than not having any. I've had my share, and from now on, I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm betting everything I got on you. Mama, I'm giving all my love to one baby. Lord help me if my baby don't come.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with the Apico Chamber of Commerce President, Daphne Gregory Miaoulis. She's going to be joining us in just a bit. But until then, we can continue our discussion about, the minister had to leave, he's heading to the House, but about the Golden Yoke Project and egg production in the country. A lot of you had a lot of questions. We couldn't get to all of them because of the time constraints there, but let's talk about it and more. And as you heard, we asked about Family Island affairs, including local government, and you heard that too. So we can talk about that as well. So somebody asked before, and I asked the question, but right, and the minister he said we did not mention a private investor. No. Now the government's invested $15 million towards the project. Right. So the government has money, folks. I mean, I don't know why we keep pretending like the government of the Bahamas is broke or bankrupt. That's not the case. They don't have the money for all the things they wish they had the money for, but they do have money. So there's no private investor as far as we know, and he said it. So just because
ministries have money that they do stuff with.
You hear every year they have a long debate on the budget, and they're about to start the mid-year budget debate as well. They do have money. It's about managing that money.
Right.
That's what all these taxes are for. That's how they're getting the money from us, the taxes that we don't like to pay. But they do have money, and they've put $15 million towards the project. And hopefully we will see the returns on this, and we will have access to fresher eggs and lower prices soon. Hopefully we can all keep our fingers crossed. A lot of people are skeptical, though, based on the text lines, and everybody's skeptical about everything. They were skeptical about 242 Day. I don't understand
But you made it happen,
I don't understand why people would be all cynical about it. It's so weird, but that's who we are as Bahamians. In fact,
you can't blame people for their jadedness.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Even when it's something simple?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you heard the minister. Well, no, we didn't talk about it on air. About a feed mill that was purchased but never put up.
Right. Yeah. Previously, he said this is the first one in many, many years.
Like 40 years or something.
Yeah. So, boy. But okay, let's get your comments in, and you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Okay, interesting text messages. Some of these I can't read. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Strachan, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well.
So I think that the skepticism is very, very legitimate when we look at the fact that, let's take Bamsey, for example. We don't know for a fact yet how successful Bamsey has been. Not saying it hasn't been or they haven't grown any fruits. We've seen the papayas. We've heard the wastage. We've heard a number of things about Bamsey burned down. So that's where a lot of the skepticism comes from. You used the comparison that 242 Day worked. Well, I think, again, people generally believe that this administration is good with functions like 242 Day, like the revealing of a logo, like Carnival. And so, hence, we are where we are today. Just wanted to make that point, Mr. Strachan. Have a great day. Having a good conversation.
Now, see, that's the thing. So people, we are in a serious situation. So when something is a community initiative and then gets endorsed by the government, it is painted with the cynical brush. But people, the same people who do that will tell you it'll never be anything unless you have the government behind it. So what is this? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody said last year. Like, you need to get the government involved. Like, do we really? And we did. And then, the government's just trying to deflect. So, people, you've got to figure out, pick a team, I guess. I don't know, something. Are you going to be just negative forever, or try to see where it makes sense? I'm just saying. Paint everything wear rose-colored lenses for everything, but where it makes sense, perhaps this is a good initiative, right?
Yeah.
There've been plenty mistakes in the past, of course, and there will continue to be if certain people are involved. Absolutely, but everything a mistake and everything bad always, every time.
Right. That's what we have to break out of.
Yes. It can't all be, right? Can it all be? And then what? And then what's the point, right? So if everything is horrible and it will never change, and because a big part of me is saying, just shut up about local government in New Providence. It'll never happen, right? But I'm not going to say that. I'm never going to say that, because if you want it, and if other people want it, and I want it, and we keep saying that we want it, and we keep agitating and pushing for it, like 242 Day, this could happen sooner than later, right? And maybe it can all happen concurrently for the Family Islands to have real functioning local government along with the province at the same time. It is quite possible. We can do that.
Mhm.
All together moving forward. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing?
Mhm.
Forward, upward, onward, together?
Yeah.
Not just one part over there trying to move?
The problem is we need therapy for the mistreatment of the past.
Yeah, who you want to give you the therapy?
I'm not sure,
The government?
but-
You want them to pay for it too?
Do they have something in their mental health legislation about our prior treatment by government?
You sure you want that one from them? Would you want them to do it? You want the people who caused your trauma to heal you of your trauma? What would that look like?
Right.
Right?
Ugly.
You need more trauma, and you'll need more therapy after that.
Well,
but
I think the point is we need a few wins. The Haymans need a few wins from somebody for us to.
Can't it be from within?
Allay that feeling within what?
Within us.
No.
What?
No, what?
You mean?
I mean,
what, can't we?
This is us.
Yeah. Okay.
Our government representatives are us.
Oh, okay.
But they're also some of the people who have caused the trauma. So, yeah.
Let's hear what this caller has to say. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
You was discussing what, local government?
And eggs. And eggs, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is with local government, no one should disagree with local government because it's a way to decentralize some of the power, right? But what I'm becoming to realize or believe, right, Jess, is that we are not, we are not successful in decolonizing many of the colonial staying brain who still wants massa to make all the decisions. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and Dwight, you know, like how I in the inner city, right? And I can see, you know, one of the things that really, I like what school she's doing. And so, as I reach a senior man, right, Chester, I really would like to do some of the things the school she's doing, and I don't even need to handle no money or nothing. Just how other people could do it. People like Simeon or Bishop Gomez, anyone who you could trust with whatever it is, right? Because what I'm seeing is on the ground is nobody's actually caring for the inner city youth. And then so we have a diverse group now, and all of them have talents. You understand what I'm saying? I just saw, as a matter of fact, on the road just now, my Asian Bahamian friend. He wasn't born yet, but his wife was, and he has 3 children, and I know them from they were small, and he saw me on the road just now, and he dapped me. You know what they tell him? I said, don't let these people get between us, you know. And this is what it is, and you see the kind of hail he give me. So what I'm saying is, Dwight, the PM Minnis, I'm not saying everybody should go, you know, but what the government should do is manage and try to do some kind of social intervention inside the inner city, because I see a lot of track and field stars, a lot of basketball stars. I see a lot of talent, and it's just like these guys are just wallowing. And the gentleman called made a very interesting statement yesterday, Dwight. It was a good show, and he said that, he said going to the schools and primary schools, you can't wait till the fellas them reach 18 and 17, even he's talking about trades from school and stuff like that. And I thought that was a good idea, and so as long as we're not doing that, you're going to continue to see the deterioration of the inner city. This is why you see people don't upkeep their yards. There's no such thing as environmental health, Dwight. That's what I'm saying. And then I'm looking at the eggs, right? What we could do is find out if the unfertilized eggs, which are the haploids, are as nutritious as the fertilized eggs. Firstly, because the chickens lay on the hormones, and we know that they are laying hens, and then the fact that they lose capacity for the amount during the winter time. They don't lay the same amount of eggs consistently. I hope they bear that in mind. And also, our very, 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 very good friends who love us very much and wouldn't do nothing to harm us, they've been putting arsenic in chicken from the 40s, I heard. And so I heard it's been discontinued, but we know what arsenic is. And it was a growth hormone factor, and it also made the chickens, it impeded them from eating a lot of excessively just to save them money. And then when you look at the parameters of how much chickens you can house per square feet, all of these things have to be, see, I like information, like people need to be aware of, because they don't want to just implement things without following, and then we have a salmonella outbreak. And obviously you need people to be checking the quality of the eggs, etc. But there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
Because eggs are very nutritious.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hopefully, our own folks will raise the standards on what we will see here. Yeah. All right. Let's take this call and then we'll get to your text messages. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Hi. Turn on your radio for us, please.
Dwight, and to your guest.
Good morning.
Listen, man, the caller before 52, you took every word right out of my mouth. But what the problem is, we have citizens who support certain governments. So what they do is they find every negative thing that they can possibly find to speak about the government. But what they fail to understand is that they are the government. We, the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, is the government. All right? And we get the type of government that we want. If you want to be on the radio every day, all day, finding every negative connotation about the government to speak about, and then that's what you have, and you will have a failed government. Because there's so many positive things that the government is doing that we can speak about to build our own nation, to build our own self. You know, but we would rather sit on social media all day and come on to airways and stuff all day and just find every negative possible word we could speak about the government, and it doesn't happen any of us. So if we want a government that succeeds, then we need to speak success. Okay, we need to find the positive things to speak about, and let's speak about that more rather than coming on the radio every day talking negative. So I say great minds think alike, because you took every word out of my mouth and you spoke it. So, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I feel like there's a new generation of Bahamian
complainers.
No. Like the people who have the woke culture within them, right? Who would appreciate a government that speaks completely opposite to the way they speak now? Who would congratulate the former party for the things they've done? Who would stop the vitriol?
You feel this way, you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think they exist. And they're the voters of the future.
You wish this, or you see this happening now? Which
no,
one?
I'm saying those people exist. I'm not saying that the parties are going to stop what they do. I'm saying there's a group of voters who'd like to see
12 people.
Oh, you think?
Huh?
Do you enjoy
13.
it? Do you enjoy it?
Which part?
Do you enjoy this vitriolic toss between parties?
It's insane.
Every day in the paper, on the news.
Not one bit of sense.
Right.
But it's like
there are people who enjoy it.
14 of us.
I mean, it's a game for them, right?
Yeah.
But
I think that's most.
But they're dying out. Those people.
They bred a lot.
There's some of them being bred, but a lot of them are dying out.
Okay. All right. I wish this is true, what you're saying. I have no evidence to support this. And the people, the ones that you're talking about, they are all picking up and leaving.
Well, okay, and being disenfranchised. Because a lot of them are probably the people who didn't vote in the last election.
Yeah.
And look how big that number was.
Or moved to Canada.
Or moved
to somewhere else. Yeah. But I hear you. Okay. This person says here, oh boy, lots of questions about the special purpose vehicle. A lot of people asking about that because, oh boy, yeah.
What are they asking?
It's like cynical stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then now they're picking on callers. Oh gosh. Okay. The Bahamian mind is all negative, nothing positive. You try to do something good for the country, they think negative for what is good in the country. Yeah.
Again, that's abuse.
Years of abuse.
Years of abuse.
Okay. Well, right, as the people say, right, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, right?
I've never understood what that meant, but you know,
it's always going to be something wrong. but something good's going to come on your table, right? And you're going to be making all kinds of noise. Maybe, might be eggs, but at some point, you're going to be all cynical, like, what is this? Where'd you put in this? Where you get this from?
Yeah.
And okay, give me back the stuff. Go. And you know, but I do understand. This person says here, the announcement of the initiative makes it sound like it's already an accomplishment, but they ain't start yet, but already doing the victory lap. What is certain is that the government has the best PR or media machine of any previous administration.
So you want them to keep it to themselves until the first eggs come out? Then you'll be like, you
What is
see,
this?
y'all ain't
Right.
say nothing about
Secretly
creating eggs.
Eggs trying to control us.
What's in these eggs, like you say? The first egg with twin yolks, and that's it.
Golden, because that's their color.
Oh, lordy, lordy.
Boy, boy, I tell you. Oh, Bahamian
I
people.
hope we don't have no turquoise eggs.
Or red fire
To make
eggs.
it nationalistic.
Torch eggs.
Black eggs.
If it had been the other side. Okay. Oh, boy, folks. My Lord.
Yellow eggs. That just don't sound right.
No. Yellow yolk. I mean, that's
Yeah, that
it
ain't-
goes without
that
saying,
ain't fun.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Black yolk. No, it wouldn't work.
We.
Red yolk.
No. No, you don't want that. You don't want that at all. But we have, this one says here, what do you expect for so many years? It is a hopelessness that has set into our communities and our young people and our young adults, hence the attitude. Well, we've been so traumatized. What is there for us to be happy or proud of? The other ethnicities are so proud of their countries that they live here. What? But that is absent with us. How do we change it?
It's difficult. It's difficult. You should do you could do a whole week on the toxicity that Bahamians have been encultured with, about the trauma, about, because it's funny, and if I could mention it for a second, I was on the trip to Montage Key for the groundbreaking, and
did you find out how that name came about?
that's the name of the company that's building the hotel, Montage International.
Interesting. Go on. Uh-huh.
So I forgot the name of the key before that, but someone said, "Oh, this is beautiful. Like this is the most beautiful place, whatever it is."
As a foreigner.
But I mean, it was mentioned that there are many multitudes of beautiful islands and keys and etc. At the yacht show too, they were talking about how beautiful the Exuma Keys Island Sea Park, right?
Right.
And that everyone should see it. Who's everyone though? Right. The only place a lot of Bahamians are going to see the beauty of the Bahamas Islands is in a pamphlet, if they even see that, or on a commercial. Right.
But who caused that? No one's stopping them from seeing it.
There are factors that.
You mean people who travel? Because because a lot of people don't travel. And
So
that's a different
So we
story.
keep talking about the death and diminishing middle class. Who's caused that? What has caused that?
And then that's just people saying things. We don't know if that is accurate or if that's really true compared to where it was 40, 50 years ago. We assume, or 20, 30 years ago, people are assuming things, but is that really true?
Okay, well, it could be. So we talk about our problems with power production and what state that's in. And if it had been better, we wouldn't be paying the size bills that we do. We would have more money to save. If our roads were better, we wouldn't be paying for tires as often as we do. We wouldn't be paying for suspension as often as we do.
True.
We would have more money to save. Maybe we could travel.
Okay.
If it didn't cost so much to build houses, for gas, if it didn't cost so much for eggs, because we didn't do what we did to the egg farmers of the past. If we'd encouraged farming from the beginning, we wouldn't pay so much for imported food. And maybe we could travel and see some of these family islands and beautiful places of the Bahamas. If Bahamas Air wasn't so expensive to go to the family islands, if it didn't cost the same to get to Miami and Orlando, maybe more Bahamians would see the family islands.
Same people saying those things are the ones who are always in Florida or wherever, though.
Well, that's just another example of why some people don't get to see parts of the family islands that are so beautiful, and why the people who own mega yachts and boats, and some Bahamians own boats, I don't know how they get them, but they're able to see parts of the Bahamas that some Bahamians will never see.
Wow. All right. Some text messages here before we take those calls really quickly before we get to a break, and then our guests. We've got a lot to get to on this Wednesday morning. This person says here, it's crazy how it took them 50 years to find one way to combat food insecurity. Well, that's not fair to say. There's been many attempts before.
There's been a lot of talk.
A lot of talk. Well, Bamsey is not supposed to be. Absolutely not.
Again,
it's a shell of itself.
Again, we've already paid too much for Bamsey. Our tax dollars have been overspent there by millions.
Well, I mean, if it had done what it was supposed to do, it would have been a good investment.
There were problems from the beginning of it.
From before it started. But I did get a whole bunch of dollar romaine lettuce last week.
There you go. There you go.
$1 each.
It was good lettuce.
Pretty decent. Yeah. So, but of course they didn't promote that very well at all. But hey, and the building, what is going on? Have you?
Which building?
I drove past it a couple times. There's no way that abandoned zombie-looking shack could be Bamsey. But
where is this?
On East Bay Street.
Oh, this is the one before the bridge?
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. It's still there. It looks like it's been, it was featured in the Walking Dead show.
This is the table that's set up on the side of the street? I don't know. Is there even anywhere to park?
But
where you buy the lettuce from?
I was in one of the Apocalypse video games, it felt. Oh. I drove past it and said, there's no way. And I called and they said, you were right there. I said, are you sure? And I pulled in, the security guard's walking around and I said, is this where Bamsey is? He says, what? Who? What? I don't know what that is. I was like, oh, God. And then I saw somebody. I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, how do I even get in this building? And I had to jump over a construction thing to get to some stairs. Oh, but the lettuce was good. Anyway. The person says there, wow, sounds like a lot of airbagging in reference to local government. And notice he only mentioned the Family Islands, which is really sad because Nassau desperately needs local government too. I am 25, and from reading what I've read, I would rather be under the UBP right now. And I'm a melanated young man saying this. Well, you got a lot of issues.
Yeah, boy. That's real trauma. That's real trauma.
You got a lot of problems if you think that's right. Wow. They say at least under the UBP, us melanated Bahamians had to work together. I don't know what's going on here. And I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe that you are 25 and that you're melanated. I don't believe any of it. And there's no way you would say such a thing. Please stop. Please stop. And maybe you've been reading the wrong things about how things were in the 60s in this country. That's clearly what's going on there. Let's stop. Stop it right now. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? No, we were talking too long. Yeah. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Yes. No. Okay. A couple messages before we take a break. This person says here, there's still an issue with the accountability and transparency. Example, FOIA, procurement laws. When will we see these new projects in the absence of accountability measures? How can anyone not raise any doubt? Yeah, well, again, we have to keep agitating. We have to keep talking about this nonstop. Keep saying it because I don't think they get that. They think that it's only a few of us who really won't stop talking about it. But the average person, if you say FOIA to them, they'll probably hand you FOIA paper. I don't know. They don't know what this is. Yeah. They hear people mention it once in a while, but the average person doesn't understand how that's going to benefit them. And so all of us have to do a better job with getting that word out there as well. Yeah. Some people not getting this. Chester is correct. It's too expensive to travel to a family island, especially if you don't have family to stay with. That is true. That is true. And this person says here, oh boy. Okay. Anyway, that's a long one. Lots of doubt about the project. That's what this is. This one says here, Bamsey's not supposed to be a government-subsidized farm competing with local farmers. It's supposed to be a research institute aiding with agricultural technologies. We just accept whatever we get and say good job. Well, he's definitely not doing that either. Yeah. Well, that happened after the administrations changed, right?
Right.
Every time a new administration comes in, BAMSI is watered down, or right. Just God knows what's going on now. I mean, there was a label for their products too, right? And when was last that label?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What was it called? Was it called BAMSI?
I don't know.
No one remembers.
And Trinidadians make fun of it.
Everybody from the whole region. This person says, I'm with you, Chester. I've only seen some of our keys on HGTV. It does make you feel some type of way when a Bahamian property is sold for millions and locals no longer have access. So I can see how hearing everyone say everyone should see the beauty of this key would cause you to think, who is everybody? Didn't the developer say the place is starting at $6 million or so? Yeah. Well, check into that though. It's some places are expensive and some to get to, and others it won't be as bad as you think.
And you could catch the mailboat, hey.
He's got a smirk on his face because I'm not even going to respond to him with that one. But it is true. Just plenty of people do that all the time. We'll be back. This is Morning Glen. When we come back, we're going to be talking with the Abaco Chamber of Commerce president right here on Morning Glen Business. Stay with us.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Get your Carifta tickets. The 58th Carifta Games is coming. April 7th to April 10th. Tickets are on sale now. Online at Carifta50.com or at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, Western Grand Entrance. For more details, email tickets at Carifta50.com or call 605-4051.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bumped into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday, you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
What you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, you know. Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text crime stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them and the messages get on mix up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blood Radio, 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And as we said, we're very pleased to have back with us Abaco Chamber of Commerce President Daphne Gregory Miaoulis. Good morning, Daphne. Great to have you with us, as always.
Good morning, Dwight and Chester. Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure speaking with you guys.
All right. You've been in the papers quite a lot this week. There's a lot going on in Abaco, I'm sure. You're even in the papers today talking about the Golden Yoke program. We just had the minister on about that. Do you have some concerns about it? What do you think about it?
To be quite honest, I don't know what was in the paper today about the Golden Yoke program. Thanks for letting me know. But I did listen to the minister earlier, and I think when I was asked about the Golden Yoke program, I indicated that I really didn't know that much about it at the time.
Yeah,
I am excited, very excited, that our government and the Ministry of Agriculture is putting food security at the top of their priority list.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, I'm an egg producer as well, small-time little egg producer on the Abaco farm. But I am very excited that the government is taking this approach.
Mm-hmm.
And we would venture to guess, and I think the ministers alluded to it slightly in the end, that it's not going to stop with eggs. It will go on to other staples that or breadbasket items that our country needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, based on some of the text messages we received earlier, it seemed that some of the egg producers are a little worried about what this could mean for them. But to me, it seems like there's room for everybody, right? The types of eggs that the smaller producers do, this is going to be a little bit bigger than what the Golden Yoke program is going to be about. But what's your take on that? Is there room for, because, I mean, we can barely meet, we can't now, the demand. So, but what do you say about that, and what other local producers should be thinking about? What do you think?
Well, one thing I think, the reality is local producers in the past have not been able to, or recently in particular, have not been able to provide a regular, standardized, consistent product supply, certainly not to furnish our supermarkets and our general public.
Mm-hmm.
Small holdings can supply their little group of residents, neighbors, maybe family-owned stores, but they can't supply the big chains. And large chain stores cannot depend on an irregular supply. It's that simple. What the Golden Egg program or brand is going to provide for us is hopefully a consistent program. And the fact that they are engaging all Bahamian farmers, which was what I understood, and he didn't actually say they would welcome the participation of small farms, because again, if they're putting their brand on something and they're giving their assurance to the wholesaler that this product has been grown, to standard and following best practices, they really cannot do that when they deal with small farms.
Right. Yeah.
There is room for small farms, but the small farms have to work a little bit harder at improving their standards, maintaining records, and complying with best practices. Once they can demonstrate that, I think there could be room for them.
Mm-hmm.
But let's put it this way, Dwight. Would you put your stamp on something that you have no control over?
Absolutely not.
The answer is clear.
Yeah.
Government or this organization, this brand, assuring a buyer of a product, they've got to, cover themselves.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about some things happening in Abaco. In our paper yesterday, you were talking about abandoned buildings. as a result of Dorian. Let people know what's happening there and how much of a problem this is.
Well, the reality is this. Persons who, 3 years out now, you have many residents who have improved their properties, who have made repairs, who have reopened their businesses. There are new businesses that have come up, but we still have the constant eyesore of buildings that have literally just been left. And not just buildings. We've got a huge piece of property on a main drive that has abandoned heavy equipment just sitting there like one big mess. And it is a constant reminder to those of us who went through Dorian, and it's depressing. People talk about the destruction of Dorian, but there's a lot of psychological impact that came with that. People are still dealing with and coping with. Mm-hmm. And when you have this constant reminder of what was, it doesn't help. And I have to say, in some cases, because I've discussed this with local government, in some cases there are legitimate family issues that have to be resolved. In other cases, there's absolutely no issue other than the fact that people are just sitting and waiting for the Abaco business to get to a point where they feel it warrants putting their money back into establishing their businesses or cleaning up, which is grossly unfair to the local businesses. If everybody did their part, our economy would bounce back a lot faster. But if you're just going to sit back and wait for everybody else to do what you should be doing, that is just not acceptable.
Is it just in Marsh Harbor, or are you seeing this across the island?
Primarily Marsh Harbor. Mm-hmm. And why that is so important is because it's the face of Abaco, the first point of arrival and the last port of entry or exit. Mm-hmm. Our visitors who are coming here, and thank God they are coming back, new and old, when they arrive, they're not thinking, oh, there was a hurricane. They don't even remember that Dorian, or even know in some cases, that Dorian was even an issue, or what is Dorian? Who is Dorian? But when they arrive and they see on our main drag, right through the heart of town, they see buildings that are just falling to pieces, and they see the disarray that exists here. It is a very poor reflection on Abaco overall. Mm-hmm. And it sends a message that we just don't care, that we don't take care of our properties. And that is what I'm really upset about.
What needs to happen? I mean, you don't want to end up like downtown Nassau, right? Where, oh my goodness gracious. Right? So what needs to happen?
What needs to happen is, well, local government, in their defense, they've got a small budget, as again, our minister alluded to this morning, that they're looking at increasing the budget to be able to do some real make capital expenses. But local government did as much as they could with the resources that they had. Now it is time for national government to come in and give persons adequate notice. 3 months, I think, is more than adequate, to make improvements to their properties. Otherwise, government needs to do it. Clear the land or do whatever needs to be done to make it visibly acceptable. Put a lien on the properties, and when the property owners sort out their issues, they will have to pay government back. Mm-hmm. But it's up to government now. It's their responsibility, in my opinion, in our opinion, it's their responsibility to make the necessary improvements happen.
And any feedback from what was in the paper yesterday? Anybody said anything to you like, I totally agree, or no, that's not up to us? What have you heard since then?
Well, I haven't had any direct feedback other than from our board, our chamber board. Obviously, are in agreement. When I speak, I don't speak from Daphne's point of view. I speak from our Abaco Chamber business point of view, and our board's agreement. But I have definitely local government. When I've spoken with them, they're 100% behind this. I have also spoken with the Member of Parliament, John Pinder. Prior to the year end, in December, I had a conversation with him about what can be done. And at that time, he led me to believe that notices were going to be issued and that government was going to step in. Now, has that changed? That I don't know. I would reach out to him, and I've tried to have a sit-down meeting with him to go over several issues, but clearly he's been busy, and I will not give up. I'll continue to pursue that. But he seemed at that time to agree that's what would happen.
Is the
we had the big opening of Montage Key. Now, when you have a Montage Key, a Baker's Bay, these big developments, which we obviously need, they're going to do tremendous marketing for us, and we're very happy to have this level of development in the Abacos. No, it's not going to be open for everyone, but it is going to bring what needs to continue to come in terms of economic investment to bring Abaco back up to the number one out island economic generator that it has been in the past. But when you have these level of developments, you cannot ignore the surroundings of that development. People still will come into the city. They will still interact with the locals. We need to bring our whole island up to speed and visibly appealing.
Is there the same, and I was there Monday and it was great to see you, is there the same feeling about private homes that are still looking like they did after Dorian as well?
To some extent, there are some. But, I'm a little more sympathetic towards private homes because they, here we're talking about people who were literally washed out of their homes, had to evacuate their island, go elsewhere, find housing, afford to relocate themselves with limited or no or new incomes, children to put in schools. How do you manage in today's economic mess that we're living in? How do you manage a complete household in a new environment and repairs to the home that you loved and grew up? And trust me, they all want to be back in, but finances are an issue. So I am a lot more sympathetic to private homes than I am to businesses who made good money pre-Dorian.
Wow.
They made great incomes, and now they've relocated, abandoned what was, and just left it for the rest of us to look at.
Yeah. And what about the government? They have some of their own cleanup to still do, right? I think the port still has some work to be done.
Oh, wow. The port of entry is a huge sore subject for me as well. There are no facilities. There's not even a bathroom there.
Oh my goodness.
Not even a bathroom. Our port of entry for local or international trade, customs, immigration, they all have to still function in that environment without even a proper building, without even a proper trailer. They don't even have an air-conditioned trailer with a bathroom facility. I mean, I really feel for these people.
My goodness.
It's going to put national trading in jeopardy if something doesn't happen and happen soon. I understand that there have been some meetings, but to my surprise, on Monday, speaking with the head of customs, local customs here, I understand that customs and immigration have not been a part of these meetings. Now, who else should be a part of these meetings other than the people who manage the ports on the ground? Only now are they engaging customs and will engage immigration. So now they've got to look at making changes to what they've already perhaps put in place because they never spoke to the people who operate on the ground.
Well, now, Daphne, forgive me. I've not been to Abaco since Dorian, and so I haven't seen it. You're right, but I need to come. I need to do the show there. I need to organize that as quickly as possible.
At Abaco Neem.
Yeah. Okay. We can do that. We can do that, Daphne. But I know we've had conversations.
I'll let you know we can do that at Abbey, but we can also do it at the Abaco Chamber office, which is right in town. And anytime you're ready, you let me know. I make it happen.
Sounds good. Now, I know since Dorian, we've had conversations on the show before, not necessarily with you, but with other Abaconians about a master plan for Marsh Harbor, and that this was a great opportunity to take advantage of that to do this. Has that happened? Is that the case? Or did people just build what they did, build back what they had before?
I had this conversation before. Definitely, this was a perfect time to have a master plan, to put in place, proper zoning for commercial, for residential. Unfortunately, we have a lot of little, I hate to say, juk businesses popping up, repairs to residences in areas where they should not be, businesses in residential areas where they should not exist.
Wow.
Yeah, a master plan would be a wonderful thing.
Is it too late now with everybody rebuilding, or can we still put that in? Can that still happen?
Well, you know what? I say it's never too late to make improvements. You may have to grandfather and let things that exist continue to exist, but it's never too late to put a proper plan into an island that still is far from complete and expects to grow hugely in the future.
Absolutely.
We have lots of land. No, it is not too late, and I would definitely like to see something like that happen.
As I understood it, the former government were on the path to a master plan.
They're on the path to a lot of things.
Yeah. Do you know what happened there?
Like you say, it was the former government.
Yeah. Wow, boy. So you say you heard the interview with Clay Sweeting. He's also the minister responsible for Family Island Affairs. I asked him about local government for New Providence, which is a big thing for me. It doesn't sound like that's going to happen anytime soon. But he did say he's focusing on the Family Islands and restructuring local government for the Family Islands. That would be great news for Abaco, I'm sure. Well, what's your view on all this? Your take on this? How should this go? More autonomy. We still hear people saying that they would rather secede from the country, but more autonomous local government would serve the purpose, I'm sure. What's your view?
Well, I previously lived in Grand Bahama, and in my opinion, the Grand Bahama local government is the only local government, to my knowledge, that has really taken advantage of the authority that local government was designed to give a local community. The fact of the matter is that they need to be able to, local government needs to be able to collect taxes locally. It cannot just be funded by the national government.
Central government,
They
right.
need to be, they need central government, sorry. They need to be able to collect a percentage of taxes. They need to be able to make changes to their communities without the interference of central government.
Yeah.
And when there are new licenses and big developments that are being planned for their islands, they should be able to be consulted. They should definitely be consulted prior to central government giving any final approvals. I mean, if they want to, or if we want to have a local government that is truly effective, we have to take the initiative to challenge central government when they interfere.
Absolutely.
And it needs to not be again, it's always been partisan. Local government should not be partisan driven, and it should be all elected members and
Who are
no
living right
appointee.
there. Living right there, right?
Living on island.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Living in their own environment.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hear only a few people saying this, though. Is that a widespread view on the island? On Abaco, at least. Is it?
I would say there's mixed feelings. I wouldn't necessarily say, people have become very apathetic. Don't necessarily see that local government has autonomy. And so they don't give it the respect that they should. So they don't generally speak out in support or against. They just are indifferent. We've become very our own enemies, really. Everybody sits back and waits for somebody else to do something. I have this challenge in the chamber. Right now, we're on a huge membership drive because people have the impression that, the chamber is just a group of, I don't know what, elitist, or I don't know what they think. But my objective as president of the chamber has been, and our board is in full agreement, has been to incorporate businesses across the board, from hairdressers to hotel owners. If we don't clearly represent the broad base business, then we're just not going to have we want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have about a minute left. I got to ask you about this. Shanty towns, that's been a major problem for Abaco. The injunction has been lifted. What's the mood there on the island? And realistically, what are people expecting? What are people thinking is going to come out of this now? And the reasonably tough talk we're hearing from the Prime Minister.
Well, the issue of the shanty towns is, you tear them down here, where are they going to move to? It's a very challenging and difficult issue, and I'm happy to see that the government is actually going to, somebody has to start. It has to start somewhere. If there are like we, for instance, on Abercrombie, we have an employee on a work permit. We've had to provide housing for him. And I think this is where government really has to crack down. If you've got an employee on a work permit, you have to provide housing. The owner of that work permit has to be held responsible. Absolutely. You have how many, I'd like to know, of farmers that are on work permits. If we had all of those farm work permits actually functioning and registered, we would not really have a food security problem because farms would be functioning. So clearly these farm work permits are not farming. They're in construction, they're doing everything else but. And if you have a work permit that's been issued to somebody in Nassau, then you shouldn't be on another island, and vice versa. They need to crack down from the point where the work permit has been issued, trace it back to the person who holds that permit, and make those people accountable. That would be the first step in starting to solve this problem. Then relocating, tearing down, and housing. If you're here illegally and you're in a shanty town, then you've got to be repatriated. End of story.
Yeah, definitely. And Daphne, we salute you for practicing with what you preach as well with your worker. And thank you very much. Always great talking with you, Daphne. Thank you much.
Thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Chester. You guys have a great day.
You as
Stay
well.
safe in that crazy city and come visit us.
Yes, very soon.
Yes.
You too. You be safe. All right, Daphne,
Okay.
Gregory Miaoulis,
Take care.
President of the Abaco Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. Chester.
Thank you, too. Take care. Bye-bye.
And Chester, thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. My pleasure. Folks, pick up today's Guardian Business section for the latest in business news, including strong tourism numbers in January and the cruise port breaking another single-day record. This is every month. You're going to be writing about this, eh? Yeah. And a whole lot more. And Morning Blend Business brought to you in part by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Another big show tomorrow, big guests. You definitely want to tune in for that. See you tomorrow. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.